Hello viewers, this is Major General Neelendra Kumar for the YouTube channel Lex Consilium Foundation, talking for the playlist in Semilier to Leah Verghese. She is a research manager at Daksh and connected to India Justice Report. My question to Leah is that in her area of interest relating to judicial reforms concerning infrastructure, dependency and the gender issues, what exactly did you find? What were your main observations that you would like to share with the viewers?
Okay, so I think on pendency, as we all know, there is a large number of, huge volume of cases pending in India's courts, from subordinate judiciary all the way to the Supreme Court. The COVID-19 pandemic really disrupted the functioning of courts, so that build-up that happened during the COVID lockdown has really made the situation much worse. And what we need to do when we look at this huge volume of pendency is to break it down, to disaggregate the data, to see where actually cases are getting stuck, what kind of cases are getting stuck. So at Daksh, for example, we did a lot of work on bail cases, and we see that in the high courts there are a lot of bail cases pending, and actually it's slightly ridiculous that so much of judicial time of high court judges go into bail cases. So we need to really look at why that is happening. What are the legislations that are leading to this kind of volume of bail cases? Why are district courts denying bail, leading to a build-up at the high court level? When it comes to gender, we see a lot of progress in the district judiciary. We see more and more women becoming judges at the district judiciary, but we don't see that kind of progress in the high courts or the Supreme Court. And important to remember that district judiciary recruitment is mostly through an exam, so it's a more open system, whereas in the high court and Supreme Court you have the collegium system, and that leads to a situation where lawyers who are more well known, who are more prominent in the bar, they are the ones who become judges. And sometimes, a lot of time actually, women don't have those kind of positions. Also, the legal profession is a very male-dominated profession. The hours are very long. We know that a lot of burden of child care and elder care falls on women in India. So if you have a profession where there's so much uncertainty of schedule or long hours, then women don't really have the freedom to, it becomes very difficult for women to compete with men in those kind of professions.
But I have one doubt here and observation. Perhaps you would certainly clarify that we find that number of girls who enroll in law colleges, that is not small. They come, and law is increasingly emerging as an interesting, attractive career choice for the girls. Now, if they are there, and it is not merely as a judicial officer, there are a large number of posts in the registry also. So what could be the reason that the girls are not qualifying, competing, or perhaps not interested in the jobs in the judiciary? I am referring to registry and also as judges of the subordinate judiciary. Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to registry staff, you still see a good number of women in those positions. But where you see low numbers is High Court judges and Supreme Court judges. So as you rightly mentioned, the number of women who are enrolling for law, who are going to law school, is increasing year by year. But you will see a huge drop off in the early years. So litigation as a career, as I had said, is very demanding. There are very long hours. There's a lot of uncertainty. The previous day, even in the afternoon, you don't know the next day what cases are going to come up. So it's a very stressful career, and you'll see that a lot of women will start off in litigation, but there will be a huge drop off when they have children, or a little later if they have to be care for elder parents. So that's why you see that the number of women, say young lawyers, you'll see a lot of women, but there'll be a drop off over time, and then that reflects in the number of judges in the High Court and Supreme Court.
Now, talking of vacancies in the judiciary, did you find that the pattern in all the states that you may have examined and gone into, Is it uniform, or there is a disparity amongst the different states in India?
There is a disparity. I'm not quite, I haven't noted the states which are worse off and states that are better off, but there is definitely a disparity. And again, when it comes to high courts, what happens is there isn't like a set planning process to replace judges who have retired, which ideally should happen. You know that a judge is retiring at 62. So maybe a year before that, you need to start searching for the replacement for that judge. But because judges are selected through this collegium process, it's difficult to do that, in a systematic manner.
And you have the same observation with regard to the posts of prosecutors, because the prosecution work in the judiciary is handled by a separate wing. It's been separated from the police, and that's a fixed job. So what was your observation with regard to the number of vacancies for in the area of prosecutors?
Yeah, again, as you had rightly mentioned, the vacancy when it comes to prosecutors really affects criminal trials, because in a criminal trial, the state is represented by the prosecutor. Here again, like all the other wings of the judicial system, you have a huge amount of pendency, a huge amount of vacancy. Now, there are various reasons for that, because one is the sanction strength. Always you'll see a difference between the working strength and the sanction strength, because oftentimes the state will not have the budget to afford to hire as many people as the sanction strength requires. Also, processes of hiring take a long time in India. Some people will challenge the process in the middle. So, all that complicates things, and sometimes you also don't have the infrastructure to support the sanction strength. Supposing you have a sanction strength of, say, just as an example, 1200 prosecutors. Do you have rooms for those 1200 prosecutors? Do you have computers for those 1200 prosecutors? If you don't have that infrastructure, then it doesn't make sense to hire those many people.
This is something very interesting, but one of your observations which you just mentioned is that the vacancies are not being filled for the financial reasons. Is it so?
One of the reasons is financial.
Could be
yes,
that.
One of the reasons, yeah.
Thanks very much, Leah.
Thank you so much, sir.
And we would be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.